Your nonverbal communication is the static that is on top of a really great message. You've got a great message, but some of the delivery elements are distracting or aren't connected to what you're saying. Is your audience asking you to repeat something that you said? Or even are they saying, can you get to the point? Or what are you trying to say? If you get any responses like that, there's some weakness in your communication. Have you ever judged yourself as being a bad communicator or a bad speaker? I'm just not good at this. This isn't my thing. Well, I'm here to talk to you about what you can actually objectively look for as a sign that you are a weak communicator. And if you're not seeing these three things, then you might be better than you think you are. And that could clear up some of your anxiety right away. Hey, I'm Julia Kraft, founder of Speak to Inspire Coaching. I help professional women get rid of speaking anxiety and get better at high-stakes communications. And I'm excited today to talk to you about the 3 signs that you're a weak communicator. I don't usually use negative words like weak. I'm always trying to build you up. And my feedback strategy for all my clients is to tell them what they're doing well and build them up so that they do more of that. And then the stuff that's not really working, not that effective, falls away naturally. But today, I'm speaking to your inner critic, which has already probably been telling you that you're a weak communicator. Your inner critic is that backseat driver that has a spew of things to say about what you're doing wrong. Oh my gosh. If your backseat driver is anything like my mother when we're in the car together, it's just going off about all the things that you should be doing differently. Is it just my mother? Probably your mother too. So, you have to notice what your mind is doing. It's probably sending you a lot of self-criticism. As we get into this topic today, I want to start by saying everyone already is a communicator, right? And everyone, including those that are very well trained and very experienced, can improve. It's a lifelong thing. It's not like you're going to ever arrive at being the perfect, best communicator ever. No, it's an evolving thing. It's a live human thing that just grows with you as you grow and the situation changes and the people you speak to changes. With that in mind, that's why it's important to self-assess versus have self-criticism. These are 2 different things. Today, we're going to work on being self-aware, having assessment of yourself that's more logical, rational, in the moment, what's happening, versus self-criticism, which is a spinning around in your head, beating yourself up without any real action or change or relationship to what is happening in the real present reality moment. I know that you want to feel better as a speaker when you're in the spotlight. And I know that you want to make an impact. You want to persuade, convince, enroll, inspire, etc. You want to make a difference when you speak, right? And so you want to know, are you doing a good job? If you're looking for personalized feedback, make sure to go to my site and schedule a consultation with me, and we can explore if we're a good fit to work together. That's the best place to get that personalized, individualized feedback. But what I'm going to share with you today is, are we going to help you assess and be really accurate with if you're effective as a communicator or if you're not? Here are the 3 signs of if you are a weak communicator. Number 3 is actually the most important, so make sure to stick around for that. Okay, number 1, the audience is multitasking. They're looking around, they're looking at their feet, or they're multitasking. They're taking care of their emails, they're on their phones, they're taking notes, and they might not be writing anything about you. I remember back in college, this is a long time ago, but I remember, drawing scribbles in the back of the room, really amazing drawings on my paper because the professor was so boring. So in our adult lives, it's the same thing. You're leading that meeting, you're doing that presentation, giving that update. Is your audience multitasking? And I know some companies just have a culture of multitasking, right? People are answering Slack messages and catching up on emails while they attend meetings. First of all, that's not a best practice as a team member, let's say. And so if that is a culture in your company, you might consider what your relationship is to that culture and if you want to choose to go with it or do something different. Aside from that, it's also not a best practice in terms of a speaker that your audience isn't engaged. Because if you're really interesting, if you're really engaging, if you're really making an impact, your audience won't be able to help themselves. They will want to listen to you. Their eyes are gonna be magnetically drawn to you. They can't look away. They can't listen to anything else. It's gonna be hard not to listen to you. That's actually what we want. Let's talk about why your audience might be multitasking. What are you doing as a speaker that's leading to that impact on your audience? You have a lot of control here, actually. What you're probably doing is what I call static. Imagine you're turning the dial on the radio to find the right song, and you find a great song, love the song, but the radio station is a little off and there's a ton of static. You can't get it clear. So you hear the song in the background, but it's a little uncomfortable to listen to the song because of the static. So you end up tuning out and going to another station. It's the same with your speaking. Your nonverbal communication is the static that is on top of a really great message. You've got a great message, but some of the delivery elements are distracting or aren't connected to what you're saying. It's like they're separate, almost of a life of their own. And so the audience is paying attention to your nonverbal communication and all this kind of stuff that's distracting from actually just hearing what you got to say and the value that you can provide. Whenever you have static in your nonverbal communication, your audience will end up multitasking or looking away, zoning out in order to preserve their own energy. It's not personal. It's just like, it's human. Like, okay, I need to take a break. There's too much going on. I can't figure out what to do. So it takes a lot of work to listen to this person. You know what I mean? So don't blame them and don't blame yourself. Just make a shift with how you do your nonverbal communication. The solution here is to make your nonverbals more purposeful. What I mean by purposeful is that they're connected to what you're saying. They're connected to the meaning of what you're saying. In my course, I call this subtext. We want your subtext to be very accurate, clear, and purposeful. There's a lot to that. And if you want to learn more, hop into the Fully Express program. You can go to speaktoinspire.com and learn more about that. Let's go on to sign number 3 that you're a weak communicator. Is your audience asking you to repeat something that you said? Or even are they saying, can you get to the point? Or what are you trying to say? They might even say, I'm not sure I understand you. I'm unclear. If you get any responses like that, unfortunately, you've missed the boat and there's some weakness in your communication. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with your idea. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person by any means. It's just that something about how you went about presenting your idea is confusing. Back to static, there could definitely be some static here, but another reason why that this happens to speakers is that they tend to be long-winded. My long-winded speakers. Yeah? Is that you that says 100 words when 10 would do? Or when you say the same thing several times in 5 different ways? Or maybe you tend to be really vague and broad when it would be helpful to give specifics and examples. All of this can be rolled into the idea of being long-winded, or you could call yourself a rambler. This often happens for speakers when they're second-guessing themselves. You're up in your head. Should I say this? Should I say that? I don't know where I'm going. And you're sort of thinking it out loud instead of discerning within your head and then making a quick decision. So that's the solution, by the way. Improvisation is the art of making quick decisions over and over and over and over and over again. Yeah? This is a quality of certainty that you can bring to how you speak and to your impromptu speaking moments. I have an idea and I'm going to say it. The more technical skill here is be concise, which looks like I speak in short, complete sentences that have a period at the end of the sentence. Do you hear that? I speak in short sentences with a period at the end. I believe that we should do this. Short sentence, period at the end. That eliminates long-windedness and second guessing. I promise you, your audience is not going to ask you to repeat yourself or to get to the point because they're going to be right there with you. There's a lot more to that. Again, if you're interested in learning all the skills and techniques that would help you to be more concise and to the point, head over to my website, speaktoinspire.com, and watch the free masterclass there. It'd be a great beginning to send you on the path towards this kind of confidence and certainty with your speaking. Okay, sign number 3 that you're a weak communicator. This is a big one, and it's really common, but it can be sort of extreme. Are you blacking out, literally, when you're done leading that meeting or presenting that update? Do you feel like, I have no idea what I said? I have no idea if the audience got it. I have no idea. It was like a blur to me. Do you ever feel like this? I've definitely felt like this. And I hear this from my clients all the time. It's like a blur. And this is an example of a freeze moment. If you haven't learned about the nervous system in terms of speaking, again, watch the training on my website. It introduces you to all of that. But this is a freeze moment. If you've blacked out, you're frozen in your nervous system and you're surviving this speaking situation. Certainly not a best practice for speakers, right? And really stressful for you as the speaker. Absolutely. Why is this a sign that you're a weak communicator? Well, the best communicators are super, super present with their audience. They're connected. Their eye contact is there. They're molding what they have to say and how they say it to connect with the people that they're talking to. So you can only do that if you're actually really present in the moment. You're not frozen. You're relaxed enough within yourself to think clearly, to make adjustments in the moment, to see the response of your audience members, whether that's facial expressions or eye contact, lack thereof. Like, you're going to notice if they're multitasking or looking away so that you can make adjustments and get their engagement back. That's why this one is so important. If you're blacking out and your eyes are blurred over and you're just zooming through to get this over with, that is a sign you're a weak communicator, because your message is most likely not making anywhere near the impact that it could. Sure, the audience is getting the information to a certain degree, but they're not going to get your authenticity with it necessarily. They're not going to get the emotional impact of the information, and they're not going to get how it's impacting them. That kind of, we're connected, this is a conversation kind of feel. This is happening. The reason why you black out, by the way, I go into this in a lot of my podcast episodes. It's because of performance anxiety. Just to sum it up in a nutshell, performance anxiety, which is the nervousness, the fear of not doing this communication moment right, that you're not doing well, is all, again, that spinning in your head. Watch my training or listen to other podcast episodes to dive deeper into performance anxiety and why it happens and what to do about it. But that is why this freeze moment happens, and why you're blacking out, and why, if you're having these symptoms, that you might be a more weak communicator. What is the solution? Well, the biggest solution, again, to sum it up in a nutshell, is to remove and reduce significantly your experience of overwhelm. If you're blacking out, or, if everything's blurry, you're overwhelmed. There's an overwhelm in your nervous system. Your mind is overwhelmed. This is just too much. It's an overwhelming experience for you. How can you reduce the overwhelm? Again, so you can be present, so you can be connected to your audience, and ultimately so you can make an impact on the people that are there. What's the point of communicating and speaking if your audience isn't really getting it? Yeah? Removing overwhelm is a big process, and sometimes a very personalized process. It could be about lifestyle factors. It could be about just nervous system regulation practices that you add in as preparation for your speaking moments. And it could be around relating to the content in a different way and having a mindset that is a little bit more detached and you could say relaxed, sort of at ease with things versus pressureful and full of expectations. There's a lot here to unpack. I'll leave it for other podcast episodes, but I hope this was helpful to think through what things could you be doing that actually make you a weak communicator and are signs that it would be worth taking some time to practice your speaking skills, to learn some new techniques, and to get some personalized feedback. That really is the game changer for professional women at a certain point. If you've never received personalized feedback on your speaking, on your nonverbal communication, on your improv skills, on how you show up, just what the impression is when you show up and communicate, then that probably is the number one most important thing to take you to the next level and overcome these 3 elements of weak communication. I hope today was super helpful. I hope you got some ahas. Write to me in the comments about what you learned, what were your takeaways, and then head over to speaktoinspire.com to learn more about the Calm and Confident training. Thanks for listening. This has been She Speaks to Inspire with Julia Kraft, your authentic expression mentor and public speaking coach. I'm so glad you joined me, and I hope you got so much out of this episode. If you want to learn more about Speak to Inspire training programs and get inspired, head over to speaktoinspire.com or follow us on Instagram at She Speaks to Inspire. Never forget, the world needs your voice, and it's time for you to speak to inspire. See you in the next episode.